Hello, everyone. Welcome to Football Worldwide, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of Everything EPL, your one stop for the latest and greatest action from the Premier League. My name is Mo. I'm your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Kaeman, my friend. How are you today?
Not bad, not bad. How are you doing? Co-host has a
Uh,
good little ring
um,
to it. Can't complain about it.
yeah, uh, guys, I just played Kaeman yesterday on the field. I played against him, and they beat our asses. They beat us 4-2. Well, I can give all the excuses in the world. I played against him in the midfield, fouling a couple of times. We're playing this highest amateur league here in Houston, but he's a really good player as well. Uh, so, Cayman, today, hey, what about this episode? No Premier League, international break, a lot of World qualifiers. Spain just, we're recording after the Spain and France game. France won the UEFA
Yeah,
Nations League.
what a comeback,
Uh,
huh?
yeah, what a comeback. And what a strange goal from Mbappe. We don't want to talk about it. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's like an offside or not. They say it's coming from Eric Garcia. But anyway, France are back on top again. Okay,
Mhm.
let's say the UEFA Nations League, it's something to win, but nothing to lose, as people say. Um, but we're here to talk about the Premier League, Cayman. We're here to talk about the Premier League after 7 weeks. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about every team, compare them to where they were last season to
Mhm.
where they are now, and what improved and what happened if they dropped, and we'll talk about every team, and then we'll just try to analyze it for you guys. And Cayman, you ready, my friend?
I'm always ready, man. I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we'll
Get
jump
some
right ahead.
analysis. Yeah.
Yes, we are after week 7. So each team played 7. We know that Chelsea on top, followed by Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and so on. We can talk about the league. I can just go it. You can find the league everywhere.
Mhm.
You know the table right now. But we're gonna jump right ahead. Chelsea came in, Thomas Tuchel, 3-5-2 or 3-4-1-2. The guy that came last season, mid season, to strengthen the defense.
Mhm.
And we can tell right away, right? Like last season at this point, they were eighth. They had 9 goals scored on them. They scored 16 goals, and they had 12 points. So this year, 7 games, they only conceded 3 goals. Do you think Thomas Tuchel just came to strengthen the defense, or what do you think?
I think Thomas Tuchel is just very good at going into sides that already have good players and putting them in a system that works. I mean, like he's shown flexibility his entire career, right? So I think he saw a system where it was begging to play a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-2, and he implemented it, right? And then he makes guys like Rudiger look great. Whereas you guys, Frank wasn't even playing Rudiger. He's got people on the outs, and he's trying to play a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. And it just, he's trying to build a system around players that he didn't have. And maybe that's just experience as a manager. Who knows? But that's the difference that I see. And also, having Lukaku up top doesn't hurt either, does it? But
Oh yeah, of
that's my
course.
thoughts. I mean, like, what do you think? I mean, what do you think is the biggest difference? Is
To be
Thomas Tuchel
honest,
just ranks above?
so Thomas Tuchel. So what I saw last season is that every pundit and everyone, every podcaster, everybody on the radio, they were talking about, oh my God, they are leaking goals, they are leaking goals, they're leaking goals. And Thomas Tuchel came and he said he did exactly what you said. He's like, okay, this team is begging to play three in the back to tighten the defense to
Yeah.
prevent other teams from scoring goals, and then the goals will come. Like Timo Werner, he had like Havertz, and it was not bad. It was not a bad team. It was
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
and he just implemented a defensive strategy while also at the same time he knew that his team can score goals. Mason Mount is someone who will create a goal or two every game, create you
Mhm.
a couple of good chances. So this season, Chelsea, as at this moment, they are fourth in big chances created. They have 4 clean sheets. Only Man City have more clean sheets than them. They are they are having shots on target, not bad. They're fourth in that. But so to be honest, I think they're playing really well. So let me ask you the other thing, and this is the thing that people have been talking about. We said Lukaku is gonna make them favorites or title contenders, but he hasn't scored for 4 games, I think. Hey, do you think this is the old Lukaku that played for Man United and not the Lukaku that played for Inter? Do you think they can't use him yet, as Antonio Conte used to use Lukaku at Inter?
I mean, I think it's pretty harsh to say that it's the old Lukaku, right? At Man U. I think he's shown that he's an effective tool up top. Um, I do have to say, I think he slots into the system well. And, maybe I think we were a little bit too ahead of ourselves saying that him alone is going to make them contenders for the top of the league. Because I think people are learning how to deal with him. I mean, I just think of the Liverpool-Chelsea game, and even though it ends in a tie, he just seemed pocketed by Joel Matip the entire game, And then
Yeah.
if you look at City, they weren't making any chances on goal. So I think in the EPL, you can't really just rely on one striker up top in the same way maybe you could in Serie A, because the game gets a little bit more open.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts on it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's arguably top 5 best strikers in the world, maybe top 3. But
Yeah, to me, it's him, Benzema, Lewandowski. There is no...
yeah.
I don't see a striker like a number 9 that is better than him, other than maybe Lewandowski and Benzema at this point. Like, who else is there? I can't, there's nobody on top of my head. That is Cristiano Ronaldo, probably, who is a striker slash comes from the wing. But at a number 9 with the back to the goal, there is only him, Lewandowski and Benzema, and I don't see anybody else. Maybe forgive me if I'm forgetting somebody, but this is what pops in my head, and that tells you something. But I think Chelsea are going to be there and thereabout at the end of the league. They're still going to be contenders. They're not. I don't think they're going to drop, because it's not only Lukaku. Thomas Tuchel is someone who knows how to be there, and I think he's a great coach, and he's going to take them places. I think if we stick to him, he's bringing players to the game, like Timo Werner now is coming in, and I think he's going to figure out.
I was wondering what you thought about that, because there is a pretty good link with Timo Werner's involvement rising and Lukaku scoring, not scoring anymore. So I was wondering if you think is it just confusion with that partnership that might be causing some of the creative drought up top, or do you think it's just Lukaku struggling on his own?
It takes time. No. Don't get me wrong. Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez are Inter, and I'm an Inter fan, and it took time to develop that partnership that got this guy to score 20-something goals and this guy to score 15 goals, and it takes time. But in my opinion, Timo Werner is not suited for the Premier League. That's just my opinion.
Oh wow, okay.
I know that he's not suited for the Premier League. I don't think he is. I think he's better off to play back in the Bundesliga, and because people keep saying he's gonna adapt, and he's not adapting. And I would rather play Havertz and Mason Mount behind Lukaku than playing Timo Werner next to him. That's just my opinion. Hudson-Odoi came in, played in the 3 up top when Thomas Tuchel played 3-4-3, and he looked brilliant on the wing. And
he did.
I think that's an option, and people are just forgetting that it's not only 3-5-2 or not only 3-4-1-2. Sometimes Thomas Tuchel can play 3-4-3 because he has the tools to play 2 wingers. In Mason Mount can play on the winger, Hudson-Odoi can play on the side, even Havertz can play on the side. Is Timo Werner can play on the side? I don't think so. Timo Werner is someone who only can be slotted as a striker or a second striker. But anyway, I want to get to the other team that is absolutely is under the radar, not anymore after the last game against City, Liverpool. I want to just pick your brains about, is this style ever going to go out of style, like the pressing style that Klopp is doing, or it's just going to be there all the time now with them?
The way I see it is that as long as we have teams trying to play as large a possession as Man City does, the high press style is going to be the best way to try to beat that. And as long as that exists, Liverpool's going to keep doing what they're going to do, because we've seen it's a problem for Man City. They concede possession whenever Liverpool high presses them, right? Like that's been Liverpool's biggest strength. The only thing I'm worried about with Liverpool is that, I mean, you've seen it, almost all of their creation is coming from miraculous plays from Mohamed Salah, right?
And sometimes, but I think we're underestimating Mane, but maybe I see your
point. Mane and Jota are incredible players, but the past few games, if you're looking at a lot of the opportunities, like especially in that City game, I mean, Salah made that second goal out of nothing, right? And
Yeah.
you great players do that, but I'm just worried is I don't know if there's another player they have who can slot in there if Salah gets like injured or something,
No, no, they don't.
right?
No, they don't.
And part of that is a drought of a transfer market, but maybe we'll see in the summer they go for a big signing.
Maybe because maybe. So last season, at this point, they were first, 16
Mm-hmm.
points.
Mm-hmm.
They had 17 goals for them, 15 on them, but including the 7 that Aston Villa scored against them. And now in the league, they have 15 points. They're second, 17 and 6. So the defense is much better,
Yeah.
not including the 7 goals. The only unbeaten team in the league is Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know that, because Man City lost against Tottenham the first week in a strange game that they should have won 5-1, but they just lost 1-0. Here's something that people talk about all the time, that Salah and Mane will miss games due to the African Cup of Nations. But here is something for you. They're only going to miss Brentford at home and Crystal Palace away. I think Liverpool can win these 2 games without these 2 guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? I agree. So I want people to stop talking about, Salah and Mane will be away. No, it's not. If you can't win against Brentford and Crystal Palace without 2 stars, you shouldn't win the league.
I agree. I do want to say, though, I think Brentford might pull up a bit more of a challenge than we're giving them credit for. I mean, with their star players, they tied Liverpool, right? Brentford does a good job of taking to these big teams, and but that being said, I think Liverpool will be a little bit more sure up on their defensive end, which was really the problem against Brentford, is they just weren't quite ready on a lot of the set pieces. I mean, you look at 2 of their goals were from stop balls, right? So just it's that kind of stuff. So yeah, but I tend to agree with you. I think Liverpool's in a great spot. I mean, you look 1 point difference, less goals conceded. I think they're a bit of a sleeper, and I think that just comes down to their transfer market. I don't know. Why do you think they're being slept on right now?
I know, because they didn't make a big signing like $100 million Jack Grealish or Lukaku from Chelsea or Cristiano Ronaldo. So because every year, man, is like people talk about Liverpool. Okay, the form is gonna dip. Salah's form is gonna dip. The midfield is not gonna be the same. And then Salah pops up, and boom, the best player in the world at the moment. You can't argue that. You can't. I know Cristiano.
Really?
No. Nobody will tell me otherwise at the moment.
You put Salah over Benzema right now?
Absolutely. Okay. It's a tougher league. Here's the goal.
Yeah.
You do it.
I tend to agree.
Okay. Let me see Benzema doing it against Barca, who actually now is in shambolic. And we're not here. You guys can go check the weekly catch up with Bruno and Jonathan on the channel. You'll find they talk about the La Liga, and they talk in depth about La Liga, and you can talk about Barcelona and all their problems, and I'm not here to talk about them. I'm past Barca. Messi left. I'm done with that team. It's done. That legacy. I wish maybe they're the most beautiful team in the world. Like everybody wants to play for them. But again, it's a shambolic club, and so the only team in La Liga right now is Real Madrid and maybe Atletico. But anyway, Salah is doing it. Man, big players do it against big teams. This is why Cristiano used to do it anywhere. In Italy, doing it. In England, doing it. In Spain, he's doing it. Now Salah is doing it against City, against everybody, against Tottenham. It's against everyone. So that's why I'm putting Salah today. At the form he has today, he's the best player in the world. And I don't think there is an argument about this. And numbers-wise, you know that Cristiano just won Player of the Month, right? And people went crazy on Twitter about this. I was like, dude, what is this? Just is Salah doing all of this, and then But anyway, Liverpool in good position, you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're in a great position. I just, like you're saying, I mean, Salah, phenomenal player, and if you're missing Salah, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get the goals you can. I mean, look at them last year; they were in shambles for a lot of last year, and Salah was putting up big numbers, right?
Yeah.
So it's just that's what I tend to worry about, because there has been some decline with some of their other players, like Bobby Firmino isn't the same creative player he was beforehand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like their attack is lacking in those ways, but also you got guys like Jota. I think he's going to come into his own this season. I think this is the season for him to do it. And who knows? Maybe Mane has a bounce back season where he just starts scoring like crazy. We'll see. But no,
Let me tell you
other than
something.
that, their
Let me tell.
defense is so good. I don't think they have a problem.
Yeah, let me tell you something. If the three up top gets double digits and one of them gets above 20 goals, they should be
Yeah.
able to win the league, right? Like,
Yeah, and I mean, can we talk about Joel Matip? That dude has been phenomenal.
oh yeah,
I think
I like this guy, by the way.
honestly, I like before because he's been so injury prone. I never really gave him the credit he deserved. I think he's been the best center back on Liverpool too for most of the games
Yeah,
I've seen him.
yeah, absolutely, man.
Which who thinks we would be saying that when you're playing next to Virgil van Dijk? You know what I mean?
yeah. It's yeah, but that's the thing. It's kind of strange that you like talk about Joel Matip and then you think that Joel Matip has been there for like 50,000 years, right? Like I watched Joel Matip, like the guy's only 30 years old, and it looks like he's like playing like 38 years old, but he's only 30. It's not. He has a couple of good seasons, and I used to watch Joel Matip in 2010, 11. So, but anyway, what are we talking about next?
We got Man City next, and this side, it's hard to say they haven't been dominant, but their place is kind of slipping right now in the table, just from some weird fringe games that they've had. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think Man City's in a better spot than they were? Do you think they're in a worse spot now? How do you think their team's stacking up compared to where they were last year?
I think the team this year is better because he didn't play Aguero last year, right? Like Guardiola, and he doesn't have Aguero, but they added Grealish. So, to be honest with you, they are well suited to win the league. They still created big chances. They are second in big chances created. Well, they don't have a lot of shots on target because they don't have a forward. They are fifth in the shots on target average in the game. But they have 5 clean sheets. That means the defense is still great. Only 3 goals against them. Brilliant. So last year, they had the same points, but they had 9 goals on them in the first 7 games.
Right.
This, because Diaz was still settling in, right? Like you remember Diaz in the beginning of the season? But now Diaz is there. Laporta's back. When John Stones gets back, and I think Kyle Walker is in the form of his life. Walker, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like this dude, man, this guy is an absolute beast in the back, right? Yeah, in my opinion, they are
borderline undroppable.
Absolutely. But hold a second. I'm not going to be the broken record to talk about the striker, but I'm going to tell you this, Kaeman.
Yeah.
Every time they struggle to win a game by a small margin, people are going to say, if you had that striker, maybe you could have had that goal that would win you this game 1-0 or 3-2 or 2-1. And that's what's going to happen every time. But I'm going to talk about Champions League. Is Champions League the ultimate goal this season for them, do you think, personally?
I think so. I think it is. I mean, they've shown they can win the league, right? They can win the Premier League. They've shown that beforehand. And, they made it all the way to the final last year. And then Pep Guardiola thought he was doing a masterstroke by not playing any defensive midfielders, and they lose the game. But I mean, there's obviously more to it than that small tactical change. But they're gunning for the Champions League. That's what they want. I mean, they made a $100 million signing, right? And it's not so that they can stay on top of the league. It's so that they can push for more trophies.
I think they're gonna sign a striker in January. I think they're gonna go for a striker. I'm not sure if it's gonna be Harry Kane or not, but they are looking for a striker. I think like a true number 9 to play. But who's on the market? We don't know. And who's gonna be on the market? We have no idea. But I think City are gonna be okay. I'm watching Chelsea and Liverpool now.
It might be Mbappe.
God. He's not a striker. I think.
I don't think he's straight up either. But I'm just thinking in the January timeline, if they want to go for a big money striker, he's someone who PSG will be trying to get a price for.
Yeah, but Mbappe is gonna go to Real Madrid. We all know that. We all know that. But again, if City comes and offers the money, and maybe they will sell.
Say no.
It's hard to say no. Moving to the other side of Manchester, but my friend, United.
Yeah.
What's Ole's style? Tell me, what's the style of this team?
I don't think I can tell you because I don't think he's exactly sure either. No, I mean, all disrespect aside there. Dude, the team has such phenomenal players. They really do. They have a really good side, but it's just they need to go big in the January window for a defensive midfielder who can actually hold it down because they don't only have a creative lack in that position, but defensively they're just susceptible. I mean, look at that Everton game, right? That
Yeah.
counterattack, Fred just gets bumped off like it's nothing. And I think you got guys like Matone who a lot of chance for growth for that player. He fits the physical bill, you know what I mean? He's got some good
Yeah. Yeah.
attributes, but he's not there yet. And you
Yeah.
can't rely on him entirely. And guys like Joe Matip, I mean not Joe Matip, sorry, Matic are
Yeah.
just
Matic.
Matic is
Yeah.
just
He's too old. He's too
he's too
old to play
old.
that
He's
role
too
for them.
old. Yeah, I mean maybe 5 years ago he'd be the perfect fit in that position, but like
5 years ago, yes.
he's just too old to be playing there now, and they just need to address that issue. And I honestly think they're trying to figure out how to play with Cristiano Ronaldo a little bit.
So hear me
Because
out.
yeah,
Hear me
okay.
out. One
Okay.
question. One thing. Cristiano Ronaldo. I said that when he was at Juventus in a lot of like when we were doing the Serie A roundtable last year.
Mhm.
It's he does not defend. You're basically
Yeah.
playing 10 men
Mhm.
when you don't have the ball. He
Mhm.
refuses to do any defensive work
Mhm.
whatsoever, any defensive work. And you don't have a defensive midfielder. That's why you have one clean sheet in 7 games.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Right? Like
I agree.
there's
Yeah.
no other way about it. One clean sheet in 7. You want to win the league, one clean sheet is not enough. It's not enough.
But to give them credit, they're doing better than they were last year
So where they were last year?
by a country mile. 10 goals, 13 goals conceded,
Oh shit.
13th place. This year,
Wow.
4th place, 14 goals created, 6 goals conceded.
Yeah. Much better, right?
Much
So
better,
Oli
yeah.
so Oli is on the wheel. It's happening. You think it's happening?
So I think there's improvements, and I think I mean they're obviously a comfortable top 4 team, right?
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone's
Yeah.
arguing that.
But they can't win the league. They can't win the league.
I think it's too much of a stretch right now. They just don't
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
They're missing personnel in key positions, specifically
Yes.
one key position, and tactically they just don't know what to do when Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't defend, right? Because you
Yeah,
look when
absolutely.
Cavani's in there, they look more solid because Cavani plays both sides of the ball,
Yeah.
but you can't sit Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the fans won't let you. No one will let you do it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely. People go to watch Cristiano, man. They
yeah,
go to watch Cristiano Ronaldo.
yeah. So he needs to figure out how to deal with that. That's the biggest problem that he has. And
Absolutely.
I feel bad for guys like Donny Van de Beek because he doesn't fit anything that they're trying to have except for maybe a replacement for Pogba. And the
He's
fact that
not good. Kaeman, he's not good enough. I watch him play, man. He's not good enough. He doesn't fit that system, the Premier League.
I agree. He doesn't fit
I'm
the
a very yes. I'm like it. I don't know. Like the Premier League needs like a certain type of player, and I don't think he fits it. Maybe if he gets a lot of playing time, maybe Donny Van de Beek might be like a City player. Like that type of like passing the
yeah.
Ajax system, but not like Man United. I
No.
don't think he fits the bill. Like it's
Yeah,
just not.
I don't think he's the type of player who's going to grind out a game like you need at
Yeah,
Man
yeah,
U. Yeah. I tend to agree.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so then, I guess moving on, we can talk about something I'm excited to talk about, and that's Arsenal. I'll let you.
I'm gonna leave the floor to you. I'm just gonna
Oh,
ask you
really?
one thing. One
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Talk about Arsenal, but let me know one thing.
Yeah.
What's Arteta's project? What is it? Just I'm gonna let you tell me where they were last season, where they are this season.
Sure.
What do you think is better? You're an Arsenal fan. Let me know.
So I'm going to give some perspective, some context here, and there's
Okay.
going to be zero bias in what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think his main project was to tighten up a defense for a team that was just defensively lacking before he came in, and that was the case. And we saw there was success in that last season. Towards the end of the last season, they were one of the top 3 teams point wise, but in terms of just the last season alone, obviously not including the horrible run they had of an unwinning streak. But if we're going to talk about where they were last year versus now, last year there was 9 goals for, 7 goals conceded. This year we're 5 goals for, 10 goals conceded, and it's about a spot difference of 1. So we're at 11th now, 10th last year. And we had 12 points last year, 10 points this year.
So it's going backwards or forward?
So here's something I want to do for context, and it's that Arteta was only able to have his full squad for 4 games. So the first 3 games, we have Aubameyang out in the first game, Lacazette out in the first game. You didn't have Xhaka in there as well. So you have you're just missing a bunch of players. Like we had Balogun starting at forward, right? This third string striker, and no offense to this player and giving his opportunity, but he wasn't ready, right? And so for those games, you're also missing Gabriel, who is the heart of our defense. We had a major right back problem, and Tomiyasu didn't get signed in and be able to play in a game until the 4th game we had. But you notice with the addition of Gabriel and Tomiyasu, we've conceded 1 goal in 4 games.
Mm.
And if
you haven't created enough. You only convinced against Tottenham, right?
And I think the creative side of it is definitely something that's being worked on. I think the biggest business in the transfer market for January is going to be trying to find a center forward, because I don't think Aubameyang's been good enough this season. I think I'd be lying to myself if I said that, and I think a lot of people are calling for Lacazette to be put in there, but it just doesn't make sense when you're about to get rid of this player because he's got the final year of his contract. You know, we're not trying to renew his contract because we have a problem with an aging squad, right? Yeah. And we're trying to do this new project. So I think, look at his last 4 games, the last body of work where he's added this full squad, and defensively they've been much better. I mean, guys like Tomiyasu are averaging 9.5 interceptions a game. I mean, that's the second in the top 5 leagues, right? And then the only person who's ahead of him is Thomas Partey at 9.8.
Wow. So defensively, you think you're good because you have 3 clean sheets since that your defense came back. So here's another thing I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
You're 15th in ball position at 45% a game.
Mm-hmm.
You are 19th. I'm talking like Arsenal.
Right.
19th in big chances created. You only created 4 big chances.
Mm-hmm.
4.
Yeah. No, I think there's a little bit of a creative drought right now for sure, and I think a lot of that falls on the fact that we just have a very young attacking line.
But I like them. Smith Rowe.
They're good
I like
players.
Odegaard is a good player. Yeah.
If you look at Smith Rowe, his time in, nothing but an upward trajectory since we got him last Boxing Day, right? And since he's been playing.
Absolutely.
So he's a great player. Saka's a great player, but we do have a bunch of young players. We've got an old aging out striker who hasn't been convincing lately, and we're trying to make it click, and I think that's the project. But you can grind out games and win these 1-0 games and learn how to be better with this possession if you have a solid defense, which I believe we do have now. I think that the challenge that we're facing is this ability to deal and get out of a high press, and that's been the problem. Brighton did it to us, and Brighton was the better team. You know what I mean? And every game we've seen somebody employ a high press on Arsenal, they haven't been able to hold possession to save their lives. And I think the high press is probably the most effective defending strategy right now. It's just you need to be able to deal with it, and unfortunately Arsenal haven't been.
Where are you going to be happy at the end of the season? What position? If Arsenal is in what position, you're going to be happy?
5th or 6th.
So you think you can be 5th or 6th? Or you want to be 5th or 6th?
So I think we want to be 5th. I think we can be 6th.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you that, in my opinion, Arsenal are gonna finish about 8th, 7th to 9th. This is my opinion. Mm-hmm. And if you get 7th, you're gonna play the Conference League in Europe.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. But we're talking about who's better than who. Moving to the other part of London North a little bit, not the other part, just a little bit north than Arsenal, Tottenham. Espirito Santo, the 9th choice of them in the summer.
Yeah.
Is the club, okay, to be honest with you, to go from Pochettino to Mourinho, I had a chat with some of the Tottenham fans before the season when Mourinho was sacked and they had Ryan Mason last year, and they said, "Oh, so who do you think is going to come next year?" I said, Tottenham made themselves a big club in the last 10 years, like since Modric and Bale and all these people in
Mm-hmm.
2000,
Mm-hmm.
like the part between 2008 and 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got Pochettino, who built the project and made Tottenham one of the big six clubs in England again.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go backwards. That means you need a big statue of a manager, like someone who is gonna bring you forward. It doesn't in my opinion, it doesn't have to be football wise. Like, but you know what I mean by you need a big name. But
Yeah.
then I don't know why they went with Spirito Center. He was their ninth choice. I think Daniel Levy didn't agree with any manager. And
Yeah.
last year at this point, Mourinho was third. He had a shambolic season. They had to let him go before the final. But they had 14 points, 18 and 9, 18 goals and 9 on them. But this year they are 8th, 12 points. They have 6 goals and 10 on them.
Mm-hmm.
What's the target? If you are hiring your ninth choice manager, what's your target? What are you looking for in this season?
Yeah, I think I mean, their whole summer transfer windows / managerial pursuit was just a scramble, right? And I
Yeah,
mean, I think shout out to Nuno Espirito Santo for at least a bit in the fact that I think he does play a good counterattacking football style. But I think his personnel choices have just been bad overall. I think trying to play Dombele and the
Dele Alli
Dele Alli in
on the
a
same field
in a midfield trio with and expecting Højbjerg to be able to just defend everything
and
by
score
himself.
and score.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's nonsensical. But I do want to, to be fair, Tottenham can typically count on Harry Kane, and they have been able to, right?
He's not
And
playing great.
no, like he's been playing very poor. Their back line is a problem, and it has been for a couple seasons now, right? Like Sanchez, Eric Dyer, these players,
Tanganga, yeah.
and I think Tanganga's got a lot of potential. I think he's going to be a really good player,
But the
but
problem is they're playing him center back, they're playing him right back, they're playing him right wing back. So pick up, like,
and
give
it,
the guy that chance to grow in a
yeah,
position.
yeah, and the problem is just that those two other center back options, Eric Dyer and Sanchez, are just not good enough options, and they're going to struggle. They're going to concede goals. I mean, they've conceded 10 this season. They've scored 6, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, not to say that Arsenal's doing much better, but to be fair, our starting center backs now have only conceded 1 goal together in
But
that
they're better.
partnership.
They're better center backs. Ben
I
White and
agree.
Gabriel. They're
I
better
agree.
than Eric Dyer and Sanchez, to be honest.
I agree.
I'm gonna move to a team that I'm really disappointed at. Leicester City. I love this team.
Yeah.
I don't support them. I just like the underdog story that
Hmm.
happened in
Hmm.
2014, 15, and I just liked it. And
And Jamie
they
Vardy
were,
is a myth, right? That man is like
yeah.
a Greek legend.
But for some reason, you get Vestergaard, who I thought last year was one of the best
Yeah,
defenders
agreed.
in the league. And then your defense is suddenly leaking goals. They were second last year, 15 points. They are 13th this year. I think they only scored 5 this year or
Hmm.
something like this. I want to make sure about that. Oh no, they scored 9 goals this year. They conceded 12. I don't think it's going well for them. I don't know what is wrong, even though they signed a couple of good players, and the fact that Brendan Rodgers did not start Iheanacho in the beginning of the season is troubling me, to be honest. How do you have somebody who was in top form last season and you just don't want to start him?
Yeah.
And it's strange. It's strange. Fofana's injured, but that's not a problem. You have Castagna now. You have Pereira back. You signed Bertrand. You have a lot.
I wanna push on. I think it is a problem that he's injured. I mean, they've conceded a lot of goals, right?
Yeah, but they
And
signed Vestergaard.
they did, but it's tough because the partnership just isn't working right now. And maybe they'll grow into it. You know what I mean? But if you look at the
Yeah,
Leicester games, they're conceding poor goals. They are. They're just conceding when they shouldn't be, right?
Yeah,
And you can't say it's Peter. I mean, you can't say it's Schmeichel's fault because he's one of the best goalkeepers of the Premier League. That dude's incredible.
absolutely.
So it's this back to partnership is just not working, and that they need to figure it out because that's their biggest problem. I mean,
Ah,
they're scoring.
give me-
I mean, they're scoring decent goals. Like Jamie Vardy is
so let me
bucketing.
tell you something. Like the Ndidi is gonna be out for a while now, and it's gonna be a big trouble for them.
Yeah, that will be
This is gonna be a big trouble.
phenomenal player, dude.
Uh, yeah. West Ham, David Moyes, the winner, and he proved to be the winner. So last year they were 15, they had 8 points, and now they are ninth, 11 points. They scored 14 goals. I think West Ham, Everton, and Brighton, who we're going to talk about the next three teams, are the most impressive teams in the league this year, to be honest, outside of the top six and outside actually of the top four, right? Like they are the most impressive teams. And I think West Ham are the only one won in the last 5 games, I guess. But however, I think they're still playing pretty well. I think that Brentford game was kind of strange, like how they lost that last game. It was even David
Yeah,
Moyes came out and said, "I don't know how we lost the game, but they just lost. Some games are just like this, Do you think,
yeah.
do you think they can still make top six?
I think they can. I think what's going to be a struggle for West Ham, like it was last year, is just how deep their roster is. Right?
Oh,
They
and now they
don't.
play Europe. They play Europe now.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that's a huge jump because it will wear away at your team if you don't have a deep lineup to have. So I think they're starting 11 and even a few of their bench players like amazing team that can make top six easily, right?
Yeah, of course.
Honestly,
Ben Rama,
yeah.
Bowen,
Mm,
Fornals, right?
mm,
Even Lanzini, Michaela Antonio. You have 5 players rotating in 3 positions. I think you're good. I think you're good there.
yeah, yeah.
Such it's not a bad squad at
And they
all. It's
have
a
great
really good.
business in the summer. I mean, getting Kurt Zuma improves their back line, right?
Absolutely. So I think they are on. I think they play a really straight, direct football that goes to the goal when they
Mm,
want. I think
mm,
David Moyes figured out how to let's just play direct, go to the goal right away. Lots of crossing, and Suchek is great in the air, and I think Antonio is great in this. So I think if they keep Antonio healthy, Michael Antonio, I think they are in good position. I think they are in top. They are a top six contender, really, really well. They are in a good position. Rafa Benitez, Everton. Uh, this team exceeded my expectation this year, to be
they're
honest.
playing very well.
With the injuries, right? Like Calvin Lewin
Yeah,
and Richarlison injured, I think
yeah.
they're playing really well. Demarai Gray is great. So what do you think about Everton?
Um, I think they're way better than I thought they were going to be as well. And I think there's some smart signings. I think Damari Gray has been a monster. I
Yeah.
mean, we were getting on Fred about a poor tackle that led to that goal against Manchester United, but how good is Damari Gray there to keep the ball and be able to find the midfielder and then them getting it up to Townsend? I mean, it was incredible. Decore, yeah, Decore has been phenomenal too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, if they keep the Korean Allen fit, I think they are onto something.
Yeah,
Have Gomez injured. So they have a deep squad too. And I think
yeah,
they don't play Europe this year. So it's
yeah.
gonna help a lot with that deep squad that they
Mm,
can actually absolutely do good. I think finally they can finish again in the top six. I think
yeah, yeah.
them and West Ham, in my opinion, they are the
Mm,
favorites to finish in the fifth and the sixth position, Everton and West Ham. But however, last year at this point they had 13 points with Ancelotti, and they ended up not in a great position. They didn't end up in a great
yeah.
position at the end of the league, right? So they finished 10th last year. So I don't think, let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I do have to, I guess, push back. I don't think they have the deepest squad in the world. I don't think their squad's incredibly deep.
It's not deep, but it's deep enough to only be playing Premier League, not Europe.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. I look at it and I don't think they've made enough signings to where they won't struggle in the same way they struggled last season. Towards the
Mhm.
end of the season, with just you start having injuries and people not able to play, and then you start dropping points. You know, That's my
Uh,
thoughts personally. But I mean, I think you make a good point that without Europe, they might be able to stay fit the entire year. And if they do, I think they are a contender for the fifth and sixth spot for sure.
that's what I think. But let's see, because I really like that how the team plays under Rafa Benitez. A
Yeah,
team that deserves another team that deserves, I think, deserves the most credit this year is Brighton. Graham
yeah,
Potter, I was always a fan of this guy. I was always a fan of his football, how he plays. He stuck to the way he played like the whole year last year, but this year I feel the pragmatism is coming. He wants to win
mhm.
points. 14 points from 7 games is a lot of points. This team is gonna have enough points to be top half probably before this if they keep the same mentality. They don't create chances, but they just pragmatic. They just win games, right?
Yeah. I mean, they just take over possession too, and they've had great signings too. That I was saying their left winger is phenomenal. It's I forget how to pronounce his name. It's like Coach. Let me look this up
Which
right now.
which one?
Left winger for long hair.
Cucurella.
Cocorella,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Spanish Cucurella. Yeah, it's a tough name if you don't know Cucurella. Yeah, that's a tough name.
No, I'm
He's
glad
a
you
left
told me,
wing
or else
back.
I would have been throwing out some interesting pronunciations.
Yeah, I know how hard it is. The
No,
only, I think, the only guy I like, I don't know what happened. Like last year, they had like Tariq Lamptey, and I don't know what happened to this guy. He disappeared. He fell off the earth. I don't know why. But they have Bissouma, who is
well,
injured now.
no,
So,
some legal troubles as well
oh yeah,
with
yeah,
Basuma.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that we'll see if that turns into a problem. And honestly, that was the player I was hoping, you know, crossing my heart and hoping that Arsenal was picking up last year. So
Yeah, I
we'll
know.
we'll see about that. But yeah, no, I
Another,
mean, oh, sorry, what were
yeah,
you saying?
no, go. Yes, I was saying that I know that you wanted him at Arsenal.
Oh man, yeah, more than anything.
Yeah.
But no, they just have smart signings that they pick up too. They got the guy from Liverpool who's struggled with injuries. Shoot, what is his name? Plays right in the middle of the field. Usually partners Basuma. Um, and then they also picked up, Danny Welbeck
Lalana,
from
you're talking about
Lalana.
Lalana.
Lalana, yeah.
Lalana this year has been really, really good this year
He's
for
a
them.
great creative
Yeah,
player. He's just always struggled
yeah,
with injuries. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah. But he's
Graham
fit
Potter's
this year.
Yeah, and Graham Potter's done a great job of taking risks with players like that. Like even guys
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Danny Welbeck. I think
yeah.
maybe Danny Welbeck's not the player he used to be, but he goes in there, he'll score an amazing bucket here and there, and he's a great system player. He's fast.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. I like Graham Potter. I think he's onto something, and I hope that he stays. If Brighton finishes top 10, I hope that he stays in Brighton and doesn't go to like another team. To be honest, because I hate to see Brighton struggle again.
yeah,
How about these Brentford people? How about that? How about these guys?
dude, who would have? I mean, there was a lot of positive talk about the Moneyball team. Just how much
Yeah,
data-driven science they've been using to try and create this amazing system and team, and it's working. And I think they deserve so much credit. I mean, I've said this every single episode you've had me on, but they are literally Leeds 2.0. They play
this
an
year, yeah, yeah.
they play an incredibly expansive, fast type of football, but they actually score and they do not concede nearly as many goals. I mean, they've only conceded 6. They've scored 10, and they've come up in some very big games. I mean, they smacked the pants off of Arsenal. They tied Liverpool, which is huge for them to get points in that game, right? Like they
Yeah,
properly play like they
West
belong.
Ham, West
Yeah,
Ham. So
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. That West Ham one was incredible,
They
and
have, yeah.
guys like Ivan Toney. Oh my goodness, I know he keeps shouting out on Twitter that he wants to get a transfer to some big club and that they need a striker like Liverpool, Arsenal, whatever. But he might end up playing for Air Force FC or something. The amount of freaking headers he's won out of the air is ridiculous.
It's absolutely fantastic. Thomas Frank has did a really good job.
Yeah.
Is with them. I think somebody said that they're gonna. I said that they're gonna have enough points by the end of the by December that they're gonna be safe in the league. Probably like they're gonna have really good position. Dean Smith, Aston Villa. replacing Jack Grealish, the 100 million Bailey, Danny Ings. I think these guys are I think these guys are doing good enough to
Yeah.
still finish top. I want they can finish top half of the table. I'm not sure if they can do top six, but I think they can do top half of the table in a good position. They
Mhm.
have 10 points, 10 and 9 goals, 10 goals for them, 9 on them. They had they had 12 points last season, but you know what? It's the type of football they play. It it reminds me of like this is a flat out counter-attacking team that actually gets the job done. And with Danny
Yeah.
Ings and Ollie Watkins up top, you can absolutely play
Oh my
quick
goodness.
and they will absolutely hammer defenses. I think
What
so.
a terrifying attacking duo that is, man.
Yes, absolutely. It's very hard as a defense to play against these two. Like same as Ivan Toney and Mbeo in Brentford. Imagine coming against Ollie Watkins is very strong and Danny Ings who can shake any defense. To be
Yeah.
honest, I think the team is playing really good, and I think they replaced Grealish well. What do you think?
No, I think they did. I honestly think Danny Ings was just one of the smartest signings I've ever seen. And you're putting him into a system that he's used to playing, like it with Southampton. You know what I mean? Like he's used to playing
Haven't
alongside another striker in a
yeah.
counter-attacking type of football and going there and scoring 16 plus goals a season.
I think he's gonna get them double digits at least this season. I think it's gonna be great for them. I think Aston Villa is not a worry for relegation. They're gonna be finishing top half of
Mm,
the table.
for sure.
A team that everybody picked to be in the relegation battle is Wolves. Bruno Laga coming to the Premier League, getting used to the Premier League is really tough.
Hmm.
They actually have 9 points this year. Jimenez is back. He assisted two goals and he chanced scoring two. The South Korean. I think. Why do you think people picked Wolves to go down? Why do you think that? Just your opinion about this.
I think their star was struggling with Traore out, Jimenez being out. There's worry that he wasn't going to come back and be in the same, the same type of player, especially after a horrible head injury. You just lost your manager who built you success in the past. So there's a lot of big change there and what ifs, that caused some concern, right? And we saw towards
Yeah.
the end of the season that Wolves weren't the defensive fortress that they had been before that succeeded on counterattack, especially without Jimenez. But I love what Bruno Lage has done at Wolves. I mean, they're playing a more expansive, free flowing football. And they've made some smart signings and tactical decisions in order to enable players. And I think once guys like Traore start being able to actually put it on target, they're a dangerous squad to have. And I mean, I think He-Chan has been phenomenal. You saw the 2 goals he scored.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and Jimenez is doing whatever he wants to. I mean, it's interesting getting to see him play almost like a false nine type of position where he's just getting the ball and creating chances out of nowhere or nothing. So
Yeah, man, the goal he scored was absolutely phenomenal a couple of weeks ago. It was
even the
absolutely
two
brilliant.
assists he had on Heechan,
Yeah, yeah. It
I
was
mean,
really, really good.
phenomenal. I mean, so that alone makes me excited for Wolves, and I think they're safe, and I think it's a good shot. They might finish top half of the table.
We'll see. We'll see. Another team that I thought that this year is gonna be they're gonna go to like top six, like they're gonna challenge top six, but they only
Mhm.
won one game
Yeah,
and one game against Watford, Leeds
yeah.
United. Bielsa, who is never under pressure, by the way, from the management, because I think they know the project he's building and how he changed
Mhm.
the club culture and everything. But
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
I think so. This year they are 16. They have 6 points. Last year they had 12 points at this point. They only won one game this year. Do you think they are in trouble? Do you think they're going to fight relegation?
I think they're in trouble. I don't think they're. I think they're going to be probably bottom of the not directly bottom of the table, but they're going to be if they're going to be skating against relegation. And I think the reason why I do think this is that I think there might be a move for Calvin Phillips, um, in the January transfer
Oh,
window.
okay.
I
That's
really
a
do.
big thing.
I think Man U's going to try to go for him. And I think that they're going to struggle with that because he's really the only piece holding down their midfield, and they're not scoring the type of goals they need to justify the type of football they're playing. You know what I mean? Like they're so exposable in the counter. They're so exposable. But then to only score 7 goals for that, it's they're just wasting away chances. I mean, you saw it against the Watford game. It was kind of tough to watch, but that's the price when you play this type of expensive football. And I think what's going to happen is that their stars are just going to get picked from their team.
Yeah, probably. I think so too. I think,
Like for Rafinha's not going to stay if they finish bottom of the table, right?
yeah, like not the bottom of the table, but if they finish it like in the bottom half of the table, like if they finish 15th or 16th, I think the stars are not gonna like the Rafinha's, yeah, the Calvin Phillips. I don't think these guys
Mm,
are gonna stay. I think they're just
yeah,
gonna leave, try to for a bigger thing. Okay, Patrick Vieira with Crystal Palace. I think people said he's not good enough for the Premier League, but I think they are. Every time I watch Crystal Palace, they have two halves, one good and one bad. Against
yeah.
Tottenham is the same. Against Leicester City was the same. But I think Crystal Palace. I think I can see what Patrick Vieira is trying to do. They
Mm,
are trying to build something. They have like an identity. Playing from the wings is their thing.
mm,
Using Zaha is their thing, and I see like what they are trying to do, like with players like Gallagher, and I see what is going on, but I think the results are not reflecting what Patrick Vieira is doing. Uh, do you think they're gonna get to a point where they're actually gonna play the football he wants, and they're just gonna be like a mid-table team, or they're gonna stay like struggling?
I think they're probably going to struggle this season, just because it's such a young team with so many changes coming in. But I
Mhm.
do think they'll stay up, and I think next season they'll probably be a mid-table team. I think they have good options, and I think once you get guys like Essay back in there, you've got a scary attacking duo. I mean trio, and I really honestly wonder if Gallagher's going to get another loan spell next season with Crystal Palace if things go well, because he's been such a phenomenal part of their attack, right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean I think they're playing good football. I think they've conceded some goals that maybe they shouldn't have, but it's because their defenders are making mistakes off of trying to play expansive football, and that's going to happen when you have a young back line. So I think they're in a good spot. I think they'll stay up, but I don't think they're going to finish anywhere near top half of the table.
Okay, but we're coming to the a little bit of a awkward part of this show.
Yeah.
The Newcastle. Okay, the
Mm,
old news about the takeover, the Saudi takeover. Um, the Newcastle fans are okay with it. As a Premier League fan, I don't want that. That is like people say, "Oh, what about Man City? What about PSG?" I didn't like that. I don't want the oil money to control football as much as I don't want American businessmen to control football. To be honest, I want people who care about football to be in charge. What do you think about that like takeover?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm the most politically involved in. There's probably better people to talk about this subject, but it is kind of hard if you just think about a lot of the human rights abuses that we know of related to
Yeah,
the group who has bought Newcastle. Um, that being said, it's I do feel for Newcastle fans because their last management was just horrible
yeah.
in
Mike
terms.
Ashley has been in the club for like what, like I don't know how long, but it's like 10 years and more.
When
And
your entire transfer window budget is for Joe Willock and you can't even get loan spells,
yeah, the
that's
fans
not
are not gonna be happy. Yeah,
that's like nobody wants that. No fan wants to be a part of that, and that's not someone who cares. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
So
don't think
it
my Ashley cares, but
so it's tough. It makes it tough for the fans, and on one hand, I'm happy that Newcastle is the fans are in a position where they could play for big money, have a big money ball team, be able to give them success through buying better players. But at the same time, I'm torn because there's some political implications.
yeah. So going back to the football side of Newcastle, I think Steve Bruce this year is trying to play a more expensive football. He's trying to attack, but not having Callum Wilson is hurting them big time up front. Trying to play Sam Maximan as a striker is very hard. But I think if they don't have big signings in January, which is I think the Saudis might give them big signings, I think they might drop. But I'm not expecting them to drop just because of this takeover. Who they're gonna make sure that this team stays in the Premier League, and I think the Premier League people will make sure that Newcastle stays in the Premier League. There is nothing to say about Newcastle other than that takeover is something that we shouldn't be happy about. And I know that Newcastle fans are happy about because of the money, but you shouldn't be happy about it. It's something that if I was a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't be over the moon about it. It's just a personal choice. But I'm not a Newcastle fan, so I'm not in that position, so I can't judge any fan.
Right.
Hasenhuttl and the good manager with no results, right? Like the good manager with no results. You remember when they were top of the league last year after like 5 games, and they were 6 with 13 points after 7 games last year. This year, 4 points, no wins, similar to Newcastle, the team that haven't won a game, and their style of play does not match the squad, to be honest. So Hasenhuttl would thrive in a squad that has a better personnel than this.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a squad thing.
I think it's a squad thing, and I think ownership really let Southampton down. Letting guys like Danny Ings and Vestergaard go really late in the transfer.
Ryan Bertrand, yeah.
Without giving like proper replacements, I mean, you can't do that and expect good results. You know what I mean? Like, they literally Vestergaard and Ings were the best 2 players on Southampton last year.
Yeah, well, James Ward-Prowse is not a bad player.
James Ward-Prowse is great, and he's phenomenal on dead balls, and not take anything away from him, but Vestergaard and Danny Ings were the best 2 players in Southampton last season.
So you think Southampton are relegation contenders? I think so.
I think they might be, yeah. I mean, unless they have some savvy business in the January transfer window, I can't see them staying up.
Yeah. Burnley, Sean Dyche getting a contract extension before the season, but they haven't won a game. Yeah. They have by the way, last year they had only 1 point at this point of the season after 7 games, but they still survived. So this is why Sean Dyche got the extension, because I think the owners knew that he's gonna keep them in the league.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think they're gonna be found this year. I think they're not good enough to stay in. I think Burnley, especially if the rumor that is Tarkowski is leaving to go to Newcastle for a big money move, I think they're gonna be found. I think this year is where they rely on crosses and long ball in January. Yes, yes, it is.
Gotcha.
They're gonna offer them big money in January to get Tarkowski, who is, I think, is one of the pieces that is holding this team together.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree with that. Part of me wants to say that I think if he leaves it, they're in trouble. But Burnley's just one of those teams where the style they play just goes the distance. It stands the test of time, and they finish right outside of relegation every season.
What about?
I really think they're going to stay up unless the transfer business you're talking about happens.
Yeah. What about Watford? Do you think Ranieri is going to do a better job than Cisco?
Dude, it's funny because I was joking about, Watford sacking their managers, and then what happens immediately? Manager gets it. And why you would sack your manager 5 games into the Premier League season after this man just got you guys promoted to the Premier League?
So this is how they do it, Kaeman. They get a manager that they know that it's gonna get them up, and then once they get up, the Italians, they want another manager that they know is gonna keep them up. But Ranieri did not do a good job with Fulham, and they dropped. So why Ranieri? Yes, big manager, won the Premier League, did a lot of good stuff with Roma, with Sampdoria last year. He was not that greatest.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure why. They didn't have a bad start. They have 7 points. There's a lot of teams worse than them, and I don't know why it's that move. But let's hope that Watford, they know what they're doing, and Ranieri has a plan, and they're gonna stay in the league.
Yeah.
And they're gonna keep doing because they have really good players, right?
They've got good players. I think Emmanuel Sarr is complete star boy for that team, right? He's so good. And the thing I struggle with Watford is that if Sarr gets injured, I think that team's toast. I don't know
Yeah.
how they create goals, right? So, and especially with managerial changes with Ranieri, who's shown that he cannot keep a team up, at least recently. I think it's going to be tough for them. I definitely have them going down. And at first, I thought they would have a good chance because they'd be willing to spend cash to keep them up in the January window. But until we see a signing that keeps them up, I think they're going down.
Yeah, probably. Another team that is, at this point, I haven't seen anything from them that they want to stay up. It looks like the team doesn't want, like,
Man.
Daniel Farke is playing like they are bottom in, I think, most of the stats, right? Like they are bottom in. I'm just gonna tell you how they are bottom in shots on target. They are bottom in big chances created. They kept only one clean sheet. They are bottom in goals per game. They are bottom in position one in the final third. They are like it's kind of like very strange, to be honest. Like this team is like they don't belong in the Premier League, even though they stormed the championship last year, right? But Burnley escaped with 1 point at this point last year.
Yeah.
So you think Norwich is doomed? Like they are doomed, or what do you think?
I love the type of football they play, man. Every time I watch them, it's good possession, good building, but there's just so many cracks. They concede so many goals. You know, they've conceded 16 goals, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And they can't score. So it's like a Fulham kind of situation. Because I honestly thought Fulham played well last year, but it was the same kind of problem, right? They just conceded too many goals and they couldn't score to save their lives.
Sorry, I said Fulham, like Fulham 2 years ago, like Ranieri, like yeah.
Yeah, but so I think that's like that's the problem that they have, and I
don't think they're gonna stay. I don't think they're gonna stay.
No, but it sucks because they have so many exciting signings. They have so many exciting players. But no, I mean, like I can't see them staying up. I think what happens is that they go down, they win the championship again, and they come back. And I think their ownership is fine with that.
I think it's every other season now. I think what we should see, I think it's we start worry, like if Norwich go down and they don't come up again. This is when we start worry about the club. Otherwise, but anyway, next week we have 2 good games. Brentford, Chelsea. Do you think? I think this is where Chelsea show their character. Again, it's Brentford away. Do you think Brentford can do something to Chelsea like what they did to Liverpool?
They might be able to. They hold it down pretty well defensively, but I don't think they've had to really deal with a back three yet. So, and I think the way Thomas Tuchel plays is so defensively sound that I think there's not going to be the same overloads that happen on dead balls. So I think it's going to be a harder task for Brentford, but it's kind of hard to down them out now, right?
It's kind of hard to down them.
Yeah.
So another team that I think is so Leicester City. I think this is a turning point in Leicester City's season. They're playing Man United at home.
Yeah.
I think Leicester City, they need the points, and Man United need to win, but if they get a point, it's not the end of the world. But if Leicester City don't win, I think this is like something that will people start asking questions about what's the target for Leicester City. You sign players, you have the squad, you need to be up there, not like at what they are. So do you think Leicester City can? I think Leicester City have probably a similar squad to Man United as Jamie Vardy, Cristiano Ronaldo, but Jamie Vardy runs more, but they're the same like old strikers that will get you goals every game.
Oh man, I can't wait till somebody clips you saying Jamie Vardy and Cristiano Ronaldo are the same player.
I'm sorry. I just have to say one thing. yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is someone that did it on the higher stages and everything, but we
Uh-huh.
have to give credit to Jamie Vardy, right? Like the guy,
Yeah, yeah. No,
he
I'm not.
win the,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just the prospect of somebody clipping that's just funny to me.
but Jamie Vardy is someone that is every year we say he's gonna stop here, and he keeps playing and scoring. Cristiano
Mm.
Ronaldo, every year people say Cristiano is gonna stop and he's not gonna play the same, and he keeps scoring and
Yeah, I
scoring.
agree. I agree.
And to be honest, now Cristiano playing for the Man United, Leicester City, Jamie Vardy playing for Leicester City, they're kind of like on the same level of like the Premier League. Both of them play the same teams. And I
Mm.
see, like, I know that Cristiano is like the guy Champions League. There's a big difference in like honors and stuff that Cristiano won, but I
Sure.
just the difference is Jamie Vardy came from nowhere to be a player who scores
Yeah, yeah,
20
yeah.
plus goals all this season.
Mm.
It's very hard to
Hmm.
be consistent in the Premier League, scoring 20 plus goals every year, and I have to give him credit for this. It's not easy.
Here's what I think. I think Leicester is going to get destroyed by Manchester United.
Damn, this is kind of like
Yeah, I think
sorry for the
if you don't have Ndidi, you can't deal with Bruno Fernandes. You've got a struggling back line against one of the most prolific goal scorers ever. Greenwood has been looking phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I think Leicester has nothing but trouble, and I think Jamie Vardy will get a goal, and I think they lose like 3-4-1.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I actually think that this game is gonna end in a draw, but we'll see. We'll meet next
Mm,
week after the
mm,
game.
yeah.
But
I've had such a good track record with predicting scores, given the Man City and the PSG
yeah,
game, that I don't
yeah.
think I could be wrong about this.
We'll see how it is, Kaeman. We'll see how it is. So, I thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. It was always great chatting with you about the Premier League, and we'll do another episode like this probably in the when they stop in the winter, and hopefully we'll have an exciting week next week. And I know people are watching the international break, and there's a lot of good games. But I want to thank you, Kaeman, and make sure, guys, to like the video or rate us on the whatever podcast you're listening, whatever platform you're listening to us at. So make sure to check our other videos on Football Worldwide. There is a big guest coming on Wednesday on the weekly football catch up. Kaeman, thank you so much for coming, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for watching, and thank you for listening. And hopefully, we'll see you next week.